harnessing the power of data to get more listings for your estate agency. Today I'm joined by Suzanna and Brian Farrell from Acaboom. Why is data so important and why will it get me more listings? Talk to me.
I'm going to go first this time.
Okay.
Because I think there's two areas of data that you can use. One is to evidence-based claims that you're making out there.
Like that?
So if you're selling properties faster than your competition, you need a stat and a piece of data that shows that you're doing it. If you're selling properties for more than your competitors, then you need a piece of data to show it. You know, the average stat might be 97% of properties are sold within 1 week. If you're selling them within 3 days, then that's a good stat. The other piece of data, which is right up your street because you deal in this, the market data, and you're feeding agents market data and making them look good in front of the homeowner, I think that's very important, that you can walk through the front door, know what's happening nationally, regionally, and right on your doorstep locally. And if you can throw data on the table and show market trends are doing this, or you know, the market's not static, contrary to what you read in the newspapers. Locally, look at what's happening. 3-bedroom semis are going up at like a rate of knots. 1-bedroom flats are sticking a little bit. It's showing off that you are the local property expert.
But data visually as well.
Yes.
To come back to visuals, because it's one thing quoting those numbers, it's another thing being able to show.
It's the way you package it.
Yes, and that's what this is all about, really. But let's come back to the client. In the vendor view, the white paper that we've written before about what clients want, 40.4% of them made a decision on which client, well, what they felt was most important about the pitch was the data they had with them. And Chris, I think you know a stat around this as well.
Yeah, the Property Academy interviewed 10,000 vendors last year in 2023, and 3,600 of them, or 36%, chose their estate agent based on their local property.
Exactly. So if we know that, we know we need to have data
I don't
with
think
us.
most people, I mean, I think that's a phenomenal stat, but I don't think most agents appreciate the power of what we're talking about here. And, you know, when you're in the 40% of the public are making a decision based on they want that data to be fed to them.
Well, look at what Savills do. They don't have a marketing department. They have a research department who talk about the property market. The Times and the Telegraph suck it up. They do regional stuff around their offices. Chuck that out locally.
But it's not an everyday conversation, I don't think, for most agents.
No, you know why, don't you? Because most estate agents are because their skill set is people.
Well,
you know, they're good on the sofa, but what you tend to find is people who are good with people are not very good with stats.
And this comes back to the toolbox you're giving your valuers in order to make them successful. Because if you're not giving them the visuals and the tools to feel confident in talking about things like data,
Right.
then absolutely they're not going to.
No.
Because they are good with people, you're absolutely right. But the secret to making a market appraisal more successful and winning more instructions is making sure the valuers do feel comfortable with talking about the right things.
Yeah, so it's not just raw data, it's packaging it up in a way that the valuer feel comfortable, which then they can portray to the vendor to enable them to say, look, because I know, you know, we know 4 in 10 are interested in that. If you can get that across, you go more likely to the valuation, to the listing. What other data can we talk about?
Well, for me, the data that they need with them is very much local data. National data also has its power, but it's, again, I keep going back to this, it's about having the right numbers in your toolbox that you can show the client and picking the right ones for that client. So I'll give you an example. Number of sales by property type. If you're selling in a town centre and they're selling a detached property, that number's probably going to be very low of how many detached there are. So then therefore demonstrating your knowledge of that demonstrates you know about the sort of sale they've got to go through. So that's one set of data you might have with you. Whereas another one might be average prices, but then the average price might not apply to that detached home then, because we're just looking as a whole. So it's about having an array of data, if you like, about the local market, about the property types, about the trends in the market, average prices, what's sold, how much for.
You can personalise this, can't you?
That's what I mean,
If you take the homeowner's postcode and said, we've done a search on applicants in our system, for example, searching for 3-bedroom semis in the radius of your property, and we've got a quarterly high of 248 at the moment. And I've taken the trouble to speak to a few of those, etc. And you can go down that sort of journey and tell a bit of a story.
Another 2 pieces of data that do prove very popular are having like local planning permissions with you. at the end of the day, we're all a little bit nosy around our market. People like to see number 26 down the road is, oh, look, Margaret, Steve's having a conservatory on the end. You know, it does just get their attention. Again, you've got to pick your client here, but if you are with somebody that is a bit of a nosy neighbour, there's some great things you can do with data to help bring that to life.
I like the interactive. We've got an interactive map that shows
Yeah,
planning
that's very
permissions. And if
popular.
you're a valuer and you can say to the homeowner, I've done some research in advance,
Yeah.
and these are the planning permissions that are in the pot at the
That'll
moment,
affect
and
you,
nothing,
yeah.
nothing is negative affecting the sale of your property, you'll be pleased to know.
It's a differentiation to make you stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other data that's attractive?
Schools and demographics, particularly schools. I mean, again, it's picking your client. Some people don't have children, aren't interested, but maybe they live in a family home and that might affect the sale. So then therefore, you know, it's knowing that you're placing your instruction with an estate agent that is aware of the things that will help them get that sale through.
Good stuff. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you indeed.